Hi, Isabel1975, welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Xbox, and today we're looking at weapons on my Mamba, which are 3 tier 5 efficient pulse lasers with phasing, and then 1 efficient pulse laser with scramble spectrum, and 1 long range turreted emissive. Yeah, terrible in 1v1s, but great in a wing fight. You get a few ships with phasing stacking together and then it suddenly does a lot. This is snippets from 2 fights I had in this ship at the recent CG. In the first fight I just fought to the death. I could have dropped a wingmate in to help me out, but you know, that'd be a really bitch move. You know, having someone drop in on a 1v1 that's been 1v1 for so long. You know, if a fight goes over a certain point and it's been 1v1 for the whole time, I'm quite happy to, you know, leave it as 1v1, even if it's not an agreed 1v1. You know, if you do the pass and go, or if you just are 1v1 for a decent length of time, I think it's rude just dropping in people to bail you out. Just, you know, if you're losing, take the L and have, you know, chill out. You don't have to be that concerned with losing. You know, some people hate to lose on this game and will do anything to avoid it. Just weird. It's just pixels after all. So I had this 1v1. This was a fun one. This is against a 3 Plasmac 2 Railgun FDL. Even though I will scare him with the amount of hull I'm eking off of him, I haven't got enough DPS to win the fight. However, this wasn't as bad as the other 1v1, which was a total washout. There's me versus Pugnut's build, which Pugnut's build just hits and brutalizes, and also he's got a hell of a lot of armor on there. I was not going to do anything in this fight, but you know, I did actually wake out before the death on that one, but that's because I was wanted and I just didn't want to go back to the detention center because it was 80 light years away. But you know, I definitely lost that fight. Pugnut ships does way too much damage, and phasing against the whole tank is just kind of, it's not going to happen. But like I say, phasing is one of those things that's great in wing fights, and this ship is great in a wing fight because, you know, it brings that utility, the emissive, the scramble spectrum, and 3 pulse lasers that just whittle their opponents down. You know, just eat. Death by 1,000 cuts. And if you've got multiple phasing ships, it's amazing. But 1v1, you just need something that does that massive DPS. You've really got to maximize the damage output, which is why I don't use this as a 1v1 ship. But we were coming over here to work out as a wing, and yeah, I just got interdicted beforehand, and I felt that, like, you know, I'd been 1v1 long enough that I didn't want other people getting involved. So, you know, I'm quite happy to take the loss, but I did scare the crap out of him with the amount of hull damage I was doing. And yeah, I've got a lot of shields on this. No banks, but a lot of shields. Also means effectively I haven't got much hull. And it took him a while to get used to the orbiting technique that I was using, and you know, the very basic gimbal scrub techniques that I use when I'm fighting these guys. But yeah, I'm probably not going to win the fight, and I knew that from the start. My chaff's availing me nothing here, and yeah, he's got a target locker breaker PA, which I'm doing my best to avoid, but it's gonna eventually sort of hit me and stop me, you know, tickling him a little bit. And yeah, it's one of those builds that, like I said, it's just so much fun when you're in a mass group of them, but on your own you just lack that power punch. It's like hitting someone with lots of pillows or something. Yeah, you know, very, very weak hits, but they mount up when you've got lots of people doing it. The fight with Pugnut, I fought Pugnut's build before in my Ramba. I went 1-1 with it in my Ramba, and it's oppressively violent. Eventually I called it quits. As you can see, he's absolutely mollywopped me. I've done very little damage to his hull, no damage to his shields. It's absolute waste of time trying to kill that thing in a phasing ship. It was never happening. But you know, GG to Pugnut. He definitely dominated that fight. And yeah, there was a point at which I had 4 or 5 policemen shooting at me as well in that fight, so I did a fair bit of running away to get away from the NPCs, and then we kind of restarted the fight. However, that was another fight in which I knew I was completely done at the start. Like, that thing just, you know, I've fought it before, and in my Ramba it's a pretty decent fight. Like I say, I have beaten it. 1-1 in my Ramba. They were both good fights. The first fight, he didn't know what the Ramba was all about, and he found that out after the first fight. Generally, that's what the Ramba's built for, is the surprise of like, oh shit, that thing really hurts when it rams you. But like once people get to know it, it's not that effective. Dismember, I could probably make it better, and I really need to look at the engineering on the weapons, especially if I'm going to go 033, because as you can see I don't need to. I should have put more pips into shields. I need the engines to try and orbit as quickly as possible, but you know, I don't need the power into the weapons that much with the all efficient. So maybe I could go for some more juicy weaponry, or maybe I could just get out of the habit of going 033 in this ship, because I think it's because I do that so often in my beam de lance. I kind of think I have to do it in this, but I can probably do 141 in this and get decent results. But you know, who knows? Certainly when I'm in wing fights, I quite often go 420 because I tend to be focused quite early in those fights sometimes. But if there's a load of us in phasing ships, where it's an absolute nightmare, when you start like stacking up phasing ships against people, that's when it really hurts. And as you can see, these Meta FDLs have no hull. It always amazes me. In fact, I remember thinking at this time, I'm going to get my FDL and my multi-cannons and beam lasers are going to rip that hull a new one. Once those shields go down, that thing's going to be dead very, very quickly. But you know, eventually he did get my shields down, and once he got my shields down, my hull's pretty decent on this thing, but I have got a Guardian shield booster in there and a big module reinforcement, so the hull's not as massive as it could be. I had hoped my smaller hitbox might do me some favours, but by this time he got his eye in, and yeah, he hit some good shots towards the end of this fight. Took him a while to start landing the shots, so this fight looked a bit scary for him at one point, but yeah, his hull just about held out. And I gotta say, considering it's a 1v1 against Meta FDL in a gimbaled phasing ship, I actually thought I did okay. But that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.